Hey, before we really get started here, you guys know we got to talk about the presenting sponsor of this show. And who is it, Dave? Who is it? None other than. Who has it always been?
Let's see. We started the show. Miller Lite.
You got it, Dave.
Miller Lite.
People probably questioned you there for a second.
No, they shouldn't.
They shouldn't.
Miller Lite's it's as deep seated in this podcast as Rick Hahn, the ghost of Rick Hahn.
Tell me about a good time you had
recently with a Miller Lite. Well, I'll tell you about a time I'm about to have. How about that? I'm going to the Northwestern versus Illinois basketball game in Evanston tonight, and they do serve Miller Lite at the Welsh Ryan Arena.
Love that.
And I didn't know that they even served alcohol there, let alone the great tasting, less filling Miller Lite until the last time I was there, and I can't.
That's a nice surprise.
Being surprised by Miller Lite. That's a 1-1.
Yeah, surprise Miller Lite.
Surprise Miller Lite.
Miller Stadiums are the best.
Yeah.
The absolute best. Hey, Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/midshow to find the delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. On that note, all right, bang, bang. Welcome to the Mid Show, presented by Miller Lite, like I just said. Big show today. We got Ron Coomer coming on in studio.
Coom Dog.
The Coom Dog's fun. Chopped it up with him for about 20 minutes.
I still have his coffee mug.
Oh, that's
it's
great.
on my desk.
That's
yeah.
great.
You know what? We can give it back to him when we go,
Spring
call
training?
the game for him.
Yeah.
I might just put it up on the shelf.
Yeah,
with like a note that says this is Coom
This
Dog's.
is Coomer's coffee cup.
Not going to wash it or empty it.
And they are the new partner of
Stella Blue.
Stella Blue Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So we will talk to him. You guys will hear that. Fun chat. But we're going to start with the team across town, a team who is going to be a little less across town possibly soon. We didn't get to it last week because we recorded right before the news came out. The South Loop White Sox. White Sox Dave, take it away.
I unfortunately could have broke this news. We'll start there.
I love that. That's the
He did. Dave, like a week before, right?
It was exactly 2 weeks before, because
You showed me like these renderings, because I love stadium renderings.
they're the best.
And so Dave showed me this rendering that he got.
It was a DM from a random.
Yeah.
His name was Joe.
And like the way it looked in that image, it was like, this is not like some like fan,
It was like he took
not
a picture
fan
of his
fiction.
computer.
Yeah, it was not like
No,
fan
no, no,
fiction.
it
It
couldn't
was
have
like
been.
it looked like
Right.
very legit. And I was like, oh damn, like that actually looks pretty sweet. So Dave, the mayor of Scoop City, who I think your term limits must have run out years ago, because you haven't scooped anything in a long time.
Not since I think Oscar Colas.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was talking to the kid. And he's like, yeah, there's going to be an announcement in a week. And I say kid, it could have been an adult, it could have been 12. I have no idea who it is. And he said there's going to be an announcement next week. A week goes and no announcement. So I hit him up and he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I was brushing it off the entire time as just like, this is not real, because I feel like this is news that leaks well before a major press release by the Sun. There's going to be rumblings and murmurs. And
Dave, you leaked it in like 2016.
No, that's
that's like my favorite part of the whole thing.
that was
Dave,
wild.
That
Dave
was pretty
did
funny.
like a Google Earth search of like available real estate for a stadium in Chicago. Was it 2016?
No, it was 2016. It was
so
just
8 years ago. Dave picked the site. Just
How did
with
that
Google.
happen?
White Sox
I
Nostradamus.
swear to God, this is. I remember when and where I was when I sent that tweet. I was laying in bed at like 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. It was pitch black out, and we were just talking about a new stadium, because this is when the Bears were talking about. I'm like, put the Sox Stadium where the Bears are now, and like have the lake splash balls and the skyline. And I'm like, knowing that that's not feasible at all. I have Google Earth up, and I'm just looking. I'm like, what the hell is this plot of grass right here? And I like put the little yellow guy on it, and it's just nothing. So I'm like, oh, put the stadium there. It's perfect. It's still South Side technically, even though I don't really consider it that. But
And Dave just playing Sims.
Pretty much.
In real
Pretty
life.
much.
But
Pretty much.
for those at home, this wasn't like an existing park. Like, this is a crazy pool
There's
by
just-
Dave. It's
yeah.
just a plot
Yeah.
of land.
It's just a plot of land. So I tweeted it jokingly. And for some reason, I thought it was only a handful of years ago. It happened to be 8 years ago. In 2016, I said that. But
Hashtag Dave was right.
It's this new. I mean, I said it in yesterday in a blog, but so do you guys know Dan Szymborski? He's been on our show a couple times. He does the Fangraph Zips guy. He's total nerd, self-admitted, awesome guy. I talk to him regularly, and he released his Zips projections for the White Sox that day, and they are projected to win like 55 games.
Nice.
They're going to be the worst. And that projection comes out, which is like, you know, it gets
traction.
It gets traction,
Yeah.
you know. It's
Davy Coaster Tycoon, man.
they
Davy Coaster Tycoon.
you guys fucking we'll get to that at the after show or whatever.
He's giving you credit. He's giving you
exactly.
credit.
Dave, listen, Dave. Of all the times people have pointed their finger and they mocked you, they laughed, they said this guy's wrong about everything. He doesn't know everything. This is like Sandlot after he kissed Wendy Peppercorn. It's like he walked a little taller that day.
You're like you could legitimately claim to be like a real estate mogul. I feel like
I mean,
like you
got
see
the eye for it.
opportunities.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah. For a guy who's taken a couple L's, I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. If it wasn't just a blatant fucking guess, it would have been cooler to me at least.
People don't got to know that.
I think that makes it because it's not a blatant guess. You were looking around. It's not like you were like, we got to knock down these buildings or it was some existing thing. You found.
I mean, it's blatantly apparent that that's just emptiness right there, and that a stadium.
There's a lot of
the
it
people
here.
at Sterling Bay have been trying to turn Lincoln Yards into something for I don't know, fucking 20 years now. That was a piece of land that could have been anything. It's still nothing. You identified a nothing piece of land and were like, that would be perfect for a stadium. The right amount of space, the right acreage. You could have parking. You can have a stadium. It will look into the skyline.
Public transportation.
It's still on the south side, technically, in a way. It's not Bridgeport, but it's
Chinatown,
it's not like they put it in Naperville. You found like the one empty plot in the city. I mean, they could have put a casino there. Like, they could have done anything.
Yeah.
That's
the fact
that's
that
the
you called it in 2016 is incredible.
That's the hang up. So that used to be, from what I have gathered over the last week or two, so that's been excavated for a complete reason. That used to be a landfill.
Okay.
Like 100,000 years, in turn of the 20th century, and it can't pass EPA tests right now, so they'd have to completely dig it out, refill it with fill material, and then build it. And that's why it hasn't done that, because you're not making a ton of money off of. But a baseball stadium would.
Yeah.
Would you be a Buffalo fan for $21 an hour and dig that stadium out so the Sox could move there?
Dude, I swear to God, they legitimately should have fun with this in a manner like that. Like, I've had that exact thought. Say, hey, come fill out your W-9s or W-10s or whatever they are for we'll pay you $20 an hour. Let's have some fun with this.
I also think you should get like a commemorative brick where like you get to lay the cornerstone of the whole thing.
I want to literally be the one that puts the first shovel in.
Well,
and on TV.
You want to work for Jerry.
Yeah, now I'm confused, because why would you ever help that guy out? Like, you've built your life like shitting on this
Just
guy.
do the handprint.
Hey,
White Sox Dave.
bro, like in the cement, like the little kids thing.
Yeah.
I'll help you out.
If you just get everyone with the White Sox podcast
twice
to dig
a
it
day
out,
type
it'll be done in
no time.
2 days.
They'll be all fucking
But I do wonder.
Camp Green Lake.
Sox and Ivy, all those guys, they will fucking all these. Yeah, there's like 28 White Sox podcasts.
There's a million. It's like inside joke on White Sox Twitter. It's like, every time the Sox do something dumb, a new White Sox podcast dies.
We need to unionize already.
That's so Shield
We should.
35th
Against the White Sox.
Shield Street Sox, like they'll be up there digging in no time.
But I know this
108.
isn't true,
108.
and this isn't the reason, because their lease is up in 5 years or whatever. But I do think that in some small way we bullied them into a new stadium with how fucking hard we've been on them this last year.
Dave,
I mean, they were looking. I think they bullied the city into maybe finding a deal.
See, that's the other thing. Like, if you look at
it would have been
Sox
very
Park right now,
tough to lose the Bears and the Sox in a.
I think the Bears going to Arlington definitely help this for sure.
Wait, so
but,
you're actually bullish that this is going to happen?
Bruce Levine, who at least in Chicago media is one of Jerry's mouthpieces. On the national landscape, it's Nightingale, but locally it's Levine, and he was on the Score this weekend, and he was adamant that it's like wheels are in motion. Like, check back in 3 weeks to a month.
I have a tough time seeing it, just because obviously Jerry got a sweetheart deal to build the one he has now.
The best sweetheart deal maybe in the history of deals.
And what was that, 93, 94 that they built?
No,
the new
they
stadium?
built in 89 and opened in 91.
91, okay. since then, there has been a lot of public outcry about publicly funded stadiums.
Yes, especially
Jerry
with
Reinsdorf
Pritzker.
ain't building
But,
that
like,
stadium unless it's somewhat publicly funded.
It's
That's
so
just a fact.
there's a difference between what that stadium would be to me, at least, and I have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about economically, obviously. But Sox Park, that park is lining Jerry Reinsdorf's pockets and nobody else's. They don't pay fucking shit on taxes unless they reach 2 million tickets sold, which they never do unless it's like 06 after a World Series year. And the parking lot, that all goes to Jerry Reinsdorf. This would be like you're inviting retail locations, bars, resident properties, buildings. This would be completely fucking different. This would be good for the city. This would be an economic driver for the city instead of a stadium that's used 81 times a year.
Yeah, but it gets
it's the whole part about it.
There's so many things.
You're starting a brand new neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, you're bringing people. That I think this would be
But
so.
people
On that part,
hate helping these guys out. Like, you know how it is. People fucking bitch about it.
They do, but I do
that's
think
what's
that
different to me though is that I would be adamant that what Jerry Reinsdorf doesn't get a sweetheart deal again. If it were like a blueprint of like what Sox Park is right now, but if it's gonna be a long run, a revenue driver for the city, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
that's a great thing.
The only thing that
the marketing of this thing will be
sure.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying
they
be
always
very
have
important.
the potential to fuck everything up.
They always have the potential to fuck everything up, but I do think they're in a tough spot with losing the Bears. You don't want to announce that the Bears are leaving Chicago, and that's tax revenue also. So you don't want to lose that and the White Sox to theoretically to like a Nashville or something. Although I don't think that ever happened, but I don't think it's a coincidence that this thing is moving forward mere months after he was publicly flirting with other municipalities.
Yeah.
So I think that's
The
all
tea
part.
leaves.
Yeah, that this is part of the equation, and I think Dave's right. I don't think this is going to be like we're
Like Sox Park is now.
right where
know,
it's like
man.
soccer. They have turtles and they have a couple of spots. I think this will be like a legitimate. It'll be
An entertainment district.
like
It'd be
yeah.
and it's.
And there's
Yeah,
not
but
much going on in that part of the city.
But it
Like,
just feels like it's impossible to get anything done in this city. That's why
That's
I'm
a
not,
completely fair.
I'm not
Yeah.
bullish at all that this is going to happen.
Maybe this is me clinging on to just dumb hope subconsciously, which I said I refuse to do with any of my teams anymore. But from everything that I've read, it's like full steam ahead.
having it like with the river there, like you could
Fuck,
have Sox
dude.
Navy. Like
Fuck, it'd
how
be
how
incredible.
Tennessee.
I'm
And
actually-
I have noticed Cubs fans don't like it. Obviously, I'm talking
I like
about the
it.
exceptions.
Can I be
to the
honest with
rule.
you? I don't know if I like it.
Why?
And I'm kind of surprised that you do too.
Why? Because you think it should be in Bridgeport or somewhere?
Oh,
like,
come on, man!
legit on
This
the south
is
side?
this is so good for the organization.
Listen, yes, of course, it's good. Undeniably, it's largely more positive than negative, right? But to me, traditionally, like that's what it is.
So
like
that's-
it's cork and turtles.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
the people who are from there going to those ball games. It's not the people who are looking for something to do in the city.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're in the South Loop. We just went to this restaurant. Let's go check out a ball game.
I do.
Yeah.
So
There is an element where
Totally.
like the Chicago in me feels like
yeah,
that is
I get that.
here
part of this city's like fucking
that's
heart.
this is like
Yeah.
a marketing thing too, because like the Cubs get to say like we're this little neighborhood team. Their Cubs are a national brand. That,
Dude.
okay, the White Sox are more of a neighborhood team than the Cubs are, but
Abso-fucking-lutely
right,
are.
but no one ever says that nationally.
no.
So like this to me like makes them more of like a big market club. Putting it there, imagine like if they do it right, which if they build it facing south again.
I found out why they did that. It's
Yeah, but like they should do it like it should have the look of their AAA team, Charlotte, where it's like
I said that yesterday. Yeah,
you open it up, you have we could hit home runs in the skyline, you pull up, and it's like there's a river walk with bars and boats, and like you could do like literally like Sox Navy. How sick would that be to tailgate on your boat on the river? Like,
dude,
it would be incredible.
It would be incredible, and in the end,
They'd still probably have the lowest payroll in the league.
While I
Jerry's
do
still
enjoy
alive.
all that stuff about the Sox, and to,
walking through a park.
the reason
to get
they
to the
faced it that
ballpark,
way,
like, it's
I found this out this weekend.
It's not White Sox culture.
No.
The 108 guys, I feel like they're Bridgeport through and through.
Yeah,
they got to
don't-
be.
They're like you. They've never left their neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's like, to me, that's so Sox.
For sure. In the end, though, I would
Damn, no
imagine
more-
even
no
the
more Lot
108
B.
guys.
The mayor of Lot B.
Yeah,
Oh no.
I had to resign because I stopped going to games.
it's gonna be like the Cermak.
They faced the stadium the way it is now because they wanted to keep the exact same address, and they were playing in the old stadium while they were building the new one right across the street. So because they were playing in the old one, the construction wouldn't have worked out. So it was
Let me
something
tell
like
you
that. They
something.
wanted the same address for 100 years though. That was a Jerry Reinsdorf thing. 35th and Shields.
That's fucking stupid.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking
It
dumb.
was because he wanted the exact same address.
Hey, we'll fucking put a P.O. box there.
But in the end, like while we do,
I'm sure Daly would have gave.
and it's
Jerry
a tight,
Reinsdorf
it's a
any
tight
address
knit
he
fan
wanted.
base. I've met some of my closest friends just being a White Sox fan, and that's how we've met. And all we want is a good product on the field.
Yeah.
I'm not from Bridgeport. I'm not from the South Side, and I will defer this to the 108 guys or whoever. I think that they would be happy with losing the tradition of having the Sox there where it is now if they acted like an actual big market club.
I can't
and
wait
started
for-
winning a fuck ton of baseball
I
games.
can't wait for
I just had an idea
What?
that I think would infuriate all of those White Sox people.
what?
What are we doing over there?
Yeah, but be careful, dude.
Put the Chicago Fire there. Get them out of Soldier
That's
Field. Put them in Bridgeport.
already being talked about.
Is it?
Yeah.
Just replace the White Sox with a little soccer team.
Man, I'm at South Loop White Sox. Parker and Kennedy got the best seats in the stadium. You know,
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just,
Imagine like a bunch of Bridgeport guys in their Carhartts going to watch soccer though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It would be fucking hilarious.
I mean, maybe that'd be good for the Fire too. I don't know.
I think it would if they retrofitted that stadium or like
it can
built,
fit. They
Built their
played
own.
a football. They played that NIU bowl game there a couple years ago or whatever.
They
it
need
was.
to like kind of tear it down and build something specific for them. I think.
Yeah.
Or at least half of it down. Whatever. But like, I do think the idea of like what you're saying, like all the Carhartt guys going and like, I guess this is our team now. Like this is our neighborhood team.
should the
So-
Bears move there?
That's what I said to him, and he's like, "No, why not? They have."
Oh,
the,
I don't care if I don't remember saying that.
That was the first thing I brought up to him. Like, what about why would they knock down Sox Park and just put Soldier Field where they have 70 acres of parking alone?
Yeah.
That takes
It's not
away.
the worst idea.
I mean,
I don't think it's the best idea. I don't know what the Bear.
But it's
if you
not
want
the
to stay in
worst.
It's not the
Chicago.
worst. It feels like
Oh, by the way, yesterday on the note of stadiums, did you guys see the Bears deleted tweet?
no.
It was up for a fucking split second. They said it was. Hold on, let me find it.
The complications they're having with Arlington is
It's
very
crazy
strange.
to me. Yeah.
Was it
and
the
like
one-
they're
Sorry.
talking Brandon Johnson a lot about redoing Soldier Field.
So I got this DM'd me yesterday.
Was it the signs or whatever?
The signs were there. Yes.
yeah. What was that?
I don't know.
I saw that too.
But
What?
they put a pin on the Waldron deck. Here, I'm gonna text this to Lance, and Lance, you can bring it up on the screen because it is
about
relevant.
Shane Waldron.
Yeah.
We can talk about him in a moment.
But it's definitely going to be different. Like now you have to really opt
Email it?
in to going to a White Sox game. You're
Yeah.
never just stop in the neighborhood stopping by. So
Which email
you think people are just going to be stopping by for a Sox game? Tourists are going to start going to White Sox games instead of Cubs games?
I think if they build it the right way.
It's anything's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about like what Wrigley has done, Wrigley is now Friday and Saturdays in the summer. It is becoming Nashville to an extent with how many bachelor
Kinda,
parties there
yeah.
are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't you're making a day out of going to a White Sox game too. A Cubs
Yeah.
is like, oh yeah, Cubs game's starting. You want to go? I got tickets.
That's how I do it.
Yeah.
I set a PR, and I don't think I bought tickets more than 12 hours in advance the entire year. So, and that is definitely a thing with Wrigley, and that's not. You're right. It's not the case with going to Bridgeport.
And that's not a bad thing about Wrigley. Don't get me
no,
wrong.
it's great. It's
Yeah,
almost
no.
like just
it's
stopping
awesome.
by.
It's annoying if you're in you're an actual Cubs fan, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But that's how you pay for free agents. That's
Yeah.
a good thing for the Cubs.
This is the
And,
tweet here.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, it's got to be about Shane
They're just
Waldron.
making a wordplay joke about.
That's Shane
Oh
Waldron.
yeah, 100%.
Why'd they
Yeah.
delete it? You said they
What
deleted
are you
it?
like? Are you seeing some like?
I
Mel-
thought it was a stadium connection. That's what.
Oh, you're seeing
people
some
were
Mel
making.
Gibson signs here. I see you. You've
No,
been
because
drinking
people
the
are
contaminated
because
water.
that's part of the Arlington hang-up is like, oh, let's just build a stadium on the Waldron deck. So people were insinuating this is what they were tweeting about because the
I think that is very clearly about Shane Waldron.
okay.
Because I started a blog on Monday Shane about like, and I was like gonna make a reference to that, and then you beat me to the blog, but it was like, yeah, I think that's I don't think that can be interpreted as anything other than the offensive
To
coordinator.
Dave's defense, though, dropping this right after the White Sox news was interesting.
Yeah, and his brain is White Sox
It's
first.
stadium related. Yeah.
So it's like, of course you're
but
gonna think that.
it was mostly that they deleted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, deleting it makes it suspicious.
Yeah.
Because maybe more than one
It was like
more than one
fucking,
person thought
that's
the way that
exactly
you
what
thought.
it was. Yeah, that's how it was DM'd to me and presented.
Definitely. I think I'm curious about the the traffic situation though, because I'm just so jaded about having a stadium by a body of water.
Oh, shut up! You're taking a water taxi with me the opening day. I can't wait to take
I mean,
water taxi.
I would do that.
You
Don't
two
get
are
me
going to be on
wrong.
the Swan
Yeah.
boats.
Like
What's
I
that
would,
pizza place on the lake or on the river?
I forget. I know what you're talking
Pizzeria
about, though.
Portofino.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
one, yeah.
I mean, I would definitely meet you at fucking Lincoln Yards and
Dude.
take a boat all the way up through
our-
Goose Island to
Yeah.
the
Our
fun.
boy,
I mean, that
our
probably
boy
wouldn't even take long.
Chelios is probably just going to be taking his boat from Chicago Cut down to those Sox like all summer long.
Probably.
Why not?
He'll probably never go see Wrigley again.
Probably.
No.
Yeah, he rides with pink cats, right?
He's yeah.
But you know what I mean. Like I just don't. Well, logistically,
I think logistically it will be much more of a pain in the ass. However, I don't care.
I'm
Plan
surprised you're
accordingly.
so full bore. I really am.
He thinks that this will be like, no, we're going to sign guys.
That, I mean, I would hope.
But imagine if you get
A full stadium, hypothetically.
imagine you get rid of all your.
Stadium still won't be full unless they win.
I disagree. At least the first year it'll be fucking.
First year,
Yeah, and then
once the curiosity wears off by like July,
But hopefully if
are
they-
on pace for
I mean,
55 wins again.
if you look at historically, since they've moved into this park at least, Sox attendance isn't an issue when they're good. And it's such a carriage before the horse type deal, chicken before the egg, where Jerry blames the fans not coming on his low payrolls, but we don't go because he doesn't give us a reason
Yeah,
to watch the team. So it's like a big ass Mexican standoff.
yeah. I don't know.
But
yeah.
this I think will change that.
I hope they build something sweet, but I don't want it like the renderings that I've seen, because now they're all out there.
Yeah.
It's a little too modern looking for me. I almost
It's
want
bo-
them to make it.
I mean,
more
who
look
knows
like
if
the old
what they
Comiskey.
end up
yeah,
with.
Yeah, I hope that's my point. I hope they make it.
I do like how they would downsize it for sure.
Yeah, downsize it. Have good views.
What if they have new food?
No, I don't like that.
we
I'm
worried
worried,
about that?
David. I'm worried about.
Well, honestly, that might be one of the downsides because Cubs, they don't need fucking all these Kraft hot dogs and brats.
They
That
got good hot dogs at Wrigley.
To be fair, the Cubs have stepped up their game a
have
lot.
they?
but
Yeah.
don't
I don't
get
think I
enough
went to a
credit
single
for it.
game last year.
No.
You quit baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But my point is, if you lose all your culture to keep just signing ex-Royals, like you guys will have you'll crumble. The podcast will shut off the lights. There will be no White Sox and boys.
We're talking years down the road.
Yeah,
And
I'm
which
just
is the
saying.
worst part. I know you guys don't watch South Park. There's an episode, Danny, where Cartman's waiting for the Wii.
Okay.
Talk to me.
To be honest, I have not. I've probably seen like 50% of South
I got you,
Park.
Dave. He freezes himself.
Yeah,
and he
he
ends
freezes-
up in like the year 3000.
Every
Yeah,
and
and
and like the world is run by otters. I think,
Yeah,
right?
the otters are taking over the world. Exactly. But Cartman's so impatient about the Wii coming out like 3 weeks from the episode air that he cryogenically freezes himself in a mountain and he wakes up like way in the future. I am so impatient. I cannot stop looking up stadium news. Like I've gone back to the renderings and just imagine like, oh, I'll get season tickets there.
You want us to Walt Disney you?
I have
until
looked
the-
at fucking properties over there.
have you actually?
Yeah, not that I can afford a fucking bicycle right now.
Get in now. Buy a place there now. Keep it as a rental
That's
property.
how am I going to do that without money?
Get some money.
Can I have some?
We'll talk.
Sell the guitar.
Yeah, sell the guitar, so I could do it. All right. On that note, Dave, please stop hitting the mic.
$3,000 worth of guitars I can sell.
Just absurd.
It's
You
I
think
bought
you're
a
a
new
rock
one
star?
2 days ago.
Yeah. On that note, let's kick it over to Coomer while we're still on baseball. We'll talk about Waldron and other stuff out of it. So Dave, hit us with a whoosh.
Whoosh.
So now we're in the interview portion of the show. We're joined by former Cub, current Cubs radio guy, Ron Coomer. Ron, welcome. Thanks for coming in, especially on a snowy day like today.
It is a snowy day, but it's Cubs convention time. So we're talking baseball and 8 inches of snow, but all good. Great to be here. Yeah.
And we were talking, you'd never know looking at you because you're as bronze as a cookie.
Well, I have to admit, I just flew in from Florida. I do escape the winter and head to Florida for a time. I go to Clearwater Beach. It's a little nicer there than it is here today.
Yeah, I kind of wish we did this interview remote. We'll go down and see you next
you're
time. We'll do a
always
little
welcome.
home and home.
Yeah, always welcome.
Yeah.
Yep, Clearwater Beach, it's a fun place, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're excited to have you in. We got Stella Blue on the desk here because it's the official coffee of the Cubs radio broadcast, so you'll be drinking it all season, huh?
Well, it's the official coffee of the analyst for sure because I drink it every day in the ballpark. Yeah, we did a deal last year, and, Pat and I are both coffee drinkers, and Mitch said, we're going to do this. Sweet, perfect. And it worked out great. We had a good relationship. I'm glad to have you guys back this year.
Yeah, no, it's great. And so we'll get into some modern day stuff, but I really want to start when you played for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Because I was like 7, 8 during 98 wild card
that's a few
team.
gray hairs ago for me.
Yeah. So I don't really remember that. I was like a 10, 11 for the 01 team. So that's like the first team I fell in love with. And it's funny looking now. I feel like that's the last manly Cubs team there was. Have you ever heard that?
We had some interesting characters, you might say, on that team. There were a few of us that we were brought in for that, right? That was the idea. The team had finished in last place in 01 or in 2000. Mm-hmm. They were not a very good team. But they had some good players. They had Sammy, obviously. Kerry Wood was there. And they needed an infusion of guys that, had some grit to them. And we did that.
Grit is an understatement.
Yeah.
If you lock someone in a time capsule and your first and third baseman are Matt Stairs and Ron Coomer, and then you bring them out 15 years later in 2016, you see Anthony Rizzo and Chris Bryant, they would think it's aliens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we were definitely not them two. Yeah, we were the guys.
Boys.
Yeah, we were hanging out in different spots than they were. There's no doubt about that. And I'm good with that.
Where
were your spots?
Yeah, we always love talking about it.
You can't give away all the secrets, but Murphy, I've been known to be in Murphy's once in a while. That's there's a few of us that still hang out in some of the old haunts around the ballpark, and but see, that was before all the cell phones and all, and you couldn't do pictures of everything. And to me, I grew up here. I grew up in Chicago. I grew up a Cub fan on the south side of Chicago, so that wasn't popular. Even with my own damn family, that was, my uncle would never go to Wrigley Field, but I came here to embrace what that meant, and that's what I did, and I had a blast with it. I still do. I was thankful that Mitch and the Score and everybody in the Chicago Cubs and Crane brought me back. There's nothing better than to go to Wrigley Field every day.
Yeah, that is such a shame that changed because, you'd always hear Kyle Farnsworth was that Cubby Bear. Someone is here, someone's there.
Yeah.
So you guys it would be after a 1:20 Friday game, and you guys are you're at Murphy's at 5.
Go have a couple beers and hang out and see some fans. It was fun, right? I mean,
work on your swing at sluggers.
No, I would never do that. You got to know your limitations, and you're not going to do that. But we all hung out in the neighborhood some. And to me, when you play at Wrigley Field, you got to understand what you got. You've got day game after day game after day game. So you go out for a little while, you have your fun. You still got a responsibility to the team and what you're doing, but that is what it is. We just had fun. I still have fun.
Who'd you hang with the most on that team?
Stairsy and I were good friends.
I love that.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I envisioned.
Kerry
In my
Wood
head,
and
you
I-
were roommates,
Yeah,
like stepbrothers. Kind of.
We were partners in crime. We were told we had to keep certain players on track, and that was part of our job description with signing a contract. So making sure guys got to the park on time, and the phone calls, and so we had a little of that issue with that club. You might have mentioned one of those guys already in the show. But we had a good time. The whole team. Kerry Wood is a really fun guy. We had a great time with Woody. Even Sammy was fun. Sammy was nice. He had a lot more things going on than the rest of us, but he still had 60 home runs, so he was good.
And I'm sorry to keep bringing him up, but I just have an infatuation with Matt Stairs.
He likes guys with mullets that look like King
He was my
Powers.
mom's
He
favorite
fits.
player.
Yeah.
He's like, what was he like? Do you got a great Stairs story?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can.
We'll cut it. We'll cut
I
it.
got a lot of them. Yeah, so Stairsy and I played against each other when he was in Oakland, and I was with the Twins. And he was friends with Giambi, who I knew, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, that's dangerous. Those guys, that's a
They're
crazy
legendary
mix.
for it.
Yeah, it really was. And that Oakland group was crazy. And then when I signed here, then all of a sudden Stairsy's here, and I'm like, oh my. And there were some guys on this team that, were known to have some fun. And it was crazy. It really was. And we had a good time.
But
we were really a good team. We
that's
were
what I was
first
gonna
place
say.
for 4 straight months. We got banged up at the end of the year, and that cost us a playoff run.
Yeah, you guys won 88 games.
Yeah.
The 03 Cubs,
Yeah.
who
We
they
were
won
really
88
good.
games
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Obviously
Yeah.
the famous
We were a very good
Bartman
team.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
and they finished third in division.
yeah.
Well, we had solid rotation. John Lieber was great.
Yeah.
We just did. We had a really good team. Leaves won 20 games. Kevin Tappan, was on that team with a split. Pine tarring the hell out of the ball and throwing the split. That was. Did I say that? Yeah. That's not legal anymore.
Statute
Don't
of-
stick them,
Yeah,
right?
statute
Statute
of
of limitations is
Yeah,
passed.
yeah. I know Tap. I'm bigger and stronger than he is. So
There you
Tom
go.
Gordon was on that team.
Flash was our
Yeah.
That
closer.
guy had
There's
the
another guy.
nastiest hook I've ever seen. I forgot he existed. Jason Beret. Man, there were a
was
lot
a
of
fun
fun.
team,
Yeah,
man.
there
Tavares
were.
was
Tom
really
Depop.
good.
It
Yo-yo.
was like
Yeah.
a dirt dog team, though.
Yeah,
We
it
were
was.
absolute.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
Girardi, total dirt dog.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Joe was he was the nicest guy on the team. He still is. And he was around all of us crazies. And you're just like, Joe, we're going to dinner. You're buying. And he's like, why me? Because you're the nicest guy. And you won't say no.
He was. I know. That's all there is to it. Were you sad that it was a one and done?
Very much so. I 100% came here to finish my career. And we lost at the end of the season. I had hurt my knee with a week left, needed knee surgery. And it just, the Cubs wanted to go a different direction. I was really bummed about it. But that's the way it goes. That's baseball. And, I signed, 2 weeks later with the Yankees and we ended up going to New York. So
That's where you wrapped up your career, right?
the Dodgers. I played in 2003. Didn't play a lot. Same thing. I had knee issues, and I ended up there. But it is what it is. I ended up playing for Chicago, New York, and LA the last 3 years. So can't quite complain about that.
Yeah. Not too shabby a trifecta right there.
Mm-hmm.
No, and I know, obviously 2001, and you brought up Sammy, and I don't mean to put you on the spot too much here, but when you think about how crazy it was for, Sammy Mania at that time, the fact that he's never been back, is that right?
I hope he comes back. I really do. He's part of the Cubs history that is in our game's history. There's such an issue with all of those guys that, get trouble with the steroid issue, and there's a lot more guys that didn't get in trouble that, did the same thing. So I hope for the Cub fans, because he was so beloved when he was playing, that he gets back. That's something that's got to be worked out between Tom Ricketts and Sammy. Sammy's got to do some things that might change Tom's mind, to be quite frank. Yeah.
If you're a betting man, do you think it will happen at some point?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I would say yes. But it's going to take some doing. It's not just snap of a finger and he comes back.
It's going to be a mutual thing, is what you're saying.
I think we should hash it out right in this room.
Yeah.
You get everybody in here. We'll work it out. The principals will get together.
If you can get Tom in here and do that, then I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a cold broadcast, bitch. Bring the score guys.
Yeah.
We'll do it all.
Yeah.
Everyone eats.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So obviously you're in the booth now with Pat Hughes.
Yep.
What's the first time? Have you ever been blown away by him? He's
Almost daily. It's such an amazing thing because, I've been in baseball since I was 20 years old. And you're talking about a guy that every single day brings it every day. And it's just it looks so easy for him to do. And we know it's not. Mm-hmm. I know it's not. It's just not an easy thing, but it just kind of flows out of him. And some of his calls where I'm jumping out of my seat and he's just calm as a cucumber, just hanging out. And so that part's really good. The other thing that really people don't realize is how nice a guy and how good he is with inclusion of everybody in the booth. There's a lot of egos in our game as a player and same as a broadcaster, but you never see that side of Pat. He is extremely generous with the airtime. Never once have I, as he said, that's enough. Never. And that doesn't happen, right? And he's just a great guy, great part. I couldn't have landed in a better seat than I am here in Chicago.
Yeah, he's the best.
He is.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's a great point guard. He just wants to let Coom Dog eat. Yeah, everybody has a good time.
I think my boss is sitting over here, Mitch Rosen, and he'd be like, Coom, be quiet, let the Hall of Famer talk. Yep, you've had enough, Coom. Okay, that's enough. Let the Hall of Famer talk. Yeah.
How did you figure after you retired? Because it's not like you went to school for broadcasting or anything like that. Was it just something that kind of happened, or were you approached, or how'd that go?
A little bit of both. I had some radio shows and some shows while I was playing in Minnesota and here in Chicago. I was doing radio and liked it. I interviewed with the Twins and the Yankees to manage in 2004 after I retired, and it just didn't. I'll be honest, they wanted to pay me next to nothing, and I went, I can't work for $40,000. I go, are you crazy? And I just said, I'm out. I can't do that. 2 weeks later, Fox called, and so minor league coaches weren't making any money. And I wasn't going to uproot my house and go somewhere, Billings, Montana or somewhere and coach. That wasn't going to happen. So I just ended up accepting a job with Fox to start doing 20 shows. And next thing you know, I was doing 120 for the Twins and thought this is going to last a year and a half. That's 21 years ago.
There you go.
Yeah. How hard is it for you? Obviously, you played the game. You know how hard it is to be on that field. How hard is it for you to divide that, the criticism versus realizing what those guys are going through?
Not hard at all. It is not. The issue is you got to be honest, right? You owe that to our fans. You owe that to the people that are doing it. You owe that to them. But also, with that being said, you don't need to bury the player, because as long as they're trying and they're hustling, they're playing the game the right way, you made a mistake, I say it, you move on. If you're not hustling, you're not working hard at the game, a little bit different story. I say that too. And you might belabor that point a little bit more, but I do know the game is very hard. I was not a superstar player, and it's just a tough game to play. So you say the facts and you move on.
Have you had any instances where a Cubs player complained about something you said?
I've been in broadcasting now 20 years, doing big league games, some way, shape, or form, and I've never had one player approach me.
There's a history of that in the city.
Very much so.
I was aware of that. I was aware of that.
Yeah.
I've never had my boss call me and go, what the hell are you saying? You can't be doing this, I just think there's a respect factor. When you show up every day and you do your job the right way, whether you're on the field, you're a coach, or you're in the booth, people respect that you're there every day. You're answering the call every day. So I don't have no issue.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously when it comes to current day, Cubs exceed expectations last year and then kind of fall apart at the end there. Make a big move this offseason. Haven't done really much since then, though. Obviously, we just signed the Japanese pitcher, but what do you expect now? Is it a disappointing offseason, or what do you think as far as that goes?
Not disappointing, just because I know how this works, the framework of the league. There's an agent out there, Boris, that has 3 of the top offensive players, and he's going to hold out as long as he can to get the most money for those guys. We all know that, so that's holding up the process a little bit. And it's not going to change until the league makes some changes. So we'll see what happens. But that's not going to change.
Do you think baseball as a whole is in a good spot right now?
Yeah, it is. There's some things we'd all like to change. I think some of the rule changes were good. Some were not so good. I think we need...
Elaborate on that.
Commissioner Coomer,
I don't like the 3-hitter rule for a pitcher. That's silly to me.
It's not baseball to me, yes.
No, that doesn't make any sense. The 30-second rule, the pitch clock is good. That's something that's good. Mm-hmm. It's sped up the game to where the game's not dragging along. The bases... Do we care if there's a pizza box out there or not?
Whatever.
I mean, who cares, right? I didn't see that part. The no contact thing. We don't play in skirts. You can knock a guy down at second base. That's legal. That should be okay. Yeah. The catcher's got full gear on. He should protect himself. And some of those things I just don't understand. That makes no sense to me.
That's that dirt baller in you.
Well, I mean, that's our game. That's what we saw. That's what we play. There's more contact on the 16 in softball games on the south side of the city than we got in the big leagues now, and that's not right to me. So but that part's good. Our commissioner needs to be a little more understanding of our game. I just think there are times where, that's one of those things that we need. Hopefully that's going to fix itself. He's made some statements that we all look at that are players or ex-players, and you go, So, we'll see how that works out.
Did the pitch clock, did you have an adjustment period with that as a broadcaster?
I did a little bit. Yeah. I
did as a fan.
Yeah. My partner, when the play-by-play guy, it's really tough for him, right? I mean, that's, because you want some input from the guy that's the ex-player, but play-by-play and the game's going on faster and faster. So, I've learned to, use my words a little more wisely and keep the South Sider in me that just blurts out every now and then to a minimum, and try to be a little more direct in my comments. But I think it took Pat and I a little bit getting used to in spring and then, the first month. But after that, we're fine.
Yeah, especially for Pat. I mean, you've been doing it for so many years. Rolling into a whole...
Our broadcast better if I just shut up and let him go for a while. Yeah. We're always good, too. I know that.
You ever catch yourself snoozing and be like, I got to get a word in here. Pat's been carrying the load.
No, because, I drink too much coffee, as you can see, and I get a little wound up. So I'm not afraid to butt in there and say what I need to say. But
I feel like you could have an inning hot dog break if you wanted to.
There's times where, there's certain situations in a game that are big situations, and if you really listen to him, he paints the picture so well that you just go, wow, that was really good. The only other guy that I get that same feeling was Vin Scully. Vinny would talk and you'd be like, wow, where did that come from? This is Chicago public school education. That's not coming out of me. I'm
not as eloquent, at least.
And I'm yelling out things like that.
It makes for a great balance between you guys.
Yeah, it's fun. We have a great friendship. That's the other thing. I am looking forward to seeing him today and hanging out with him and talking about the winter and how much salmon he's eaten this off season, and we joke back and forth, and it's a great friendship, as Mitch knows, who's here. I'm very I'll just say that I'm very fortunate with the situation.
He's a big salmon guy.
Oh my!
So he's just slamming salmon during the game?
No. But
is he cooking salmon in the offices?
He's got the
that
foreman?
Would be a no.
Okay, I would hope so.
I would think 80% of the meals.
Really?
Wow.
If it's being cooked, he's having salmon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's no
He
doubt.
prefers a taste, or obviously it's a healthy dish. Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. I like pizza. I don't know. I had salmon last night. Okay, that was great. But you still want a good Chicago pizza, but we just all laugh about it. And so does he. Yeah. I'm not saying anything that's not known really well.
Does he have any other traditions? Because I think it was Al Michaels we heard at halftime every game. He has a steak dinner.
Yeah, a lot of broadcasters do. He's just very ritualistic. He does the same things day after day, which in baseball we all kind of do.
We're all
kind of that way, right? I get to the park usually at the same time. When I was playing, I ate the same lunch every day. I was a chicken sandwich every day. Same amount of swings every day. Mm-hmm. And now in the booth, I get to the ballpark at the same time. I get in the manager's office the same time every day, or try to. I'm in the booth doing the same things. And, when you're doing it 170 times a year, that's kind of what you do.
What's your ritual?
I'm up in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. My alarm goes off if I'm not already up. I'm reading the day's news of baseball, and it starts at 8 and it doesn't end until the game's over. Yeah. And that's what I do. And I usually eat at the same time. I get to the ball. Car leaves at the same time, no matter who's with me. The car's leaving at 2:30. I'm going to the park between 2 and 2:30. One of those two, either 2 or 2:30. The car's going to the ballpark. Mm-hmm. If you want to go to the ballpark, you're going at this time. If not, that's why they have cabs and Ubers and everything else, because then you got to go that way.
And talk about in-game broadcasting. Obviously, it is legendary to have a couple to have a couple cold ones during the broadcast.
No, that is definitely a not.
That's not allowed anymore?
I don't know, and I'm not going to find out. I'll be honest with you. I have enough issue with the English language on my own.
Oh.
I don't need to be impaired like Harry and Jimmy Pearsall and some of those guys. I'm not that good. I can't have drinks and then think I'm going to broadcast it. It's not going to happen. No. And I think my boss over there would be like, "The hell you doing, Coom?"
He shook his head, and I don't like that. I think just to get a little loose.
No. I'm believe me, I'm loose enough. You guys are Chicago. You know where I'm from. I'm loose enough. We're good. Yeah.
It's tradition. It's tradition.
Yeah. Harry having a commercial. Now this is no lie. Harry Carey had a commercial where he opened a beer on the broadcast and drank it on the broadcast. And I'm thinking, boy, if things changed in a few years,
Wild.
Yeah.
He'd have his cup stacked.
Yeah.
Just have them lined
He
up.
looks at you guys the way that you looked at Brian and Rizzo. Like they're a different species, different time.
Mark Grace had a great statement years ago, a quote when I was playing for the Cubs. He said, years ago, you would ask a guy for a cigarette or a chew or beer in the clubhouse, and now guys are asking for protein shakes and things like that. Yeah. Things have changed a little bit. That's just,
got the balanced necklaces
that's just
on.
the way
You
it
had
is.
the nice blend of like the old school 80s Ozzie Guillen type dirt ballers. You and Matt Stairs, obviously, with all those, obviously, the 90s where it was a steroid era. When did because you grew up as a baseball player through that entire era. When did it kind of start clicking in your head that something weird was going on around the league?
I was playing for the Minnesota Twins, and we had signed. So Kirby had just retired because of the glaucoma.
Yeah.
We had signed Paul Molitor. We had Knobloch. We had a pretty good team. We had some veteran guys. We had some real young guys, and one of my teammates, a very nice guy, Todd Walker, was a first-round pick.
Oh, yeah.
Came to the Cubs later in his career. Great guy. He comes up to me, and now I'm kind of in between age of the Molitors, who are about 10 years older, and Steinbach, to the young guys, right? So I'm 31, 32, and Todd, we're on the road, and he brings this great big suitcase with him, and he goes, "Hey, I'm having a party in my room tonight." And I'm like, no, he's 22, 23, and I'm like, sweet. All right. It's about time, we're going to do something fun.
Yeah.
And I go, so what are we doing tonight? What do you got going? He goes, the new Madden game came out. And I go, okay, what's that? I kind of knew that, it was a video game, and I was like, all right. And he goes, we're ordering pizzas, we're going to hang out, and we're all going to, we got screens set up, and we're going to play. And I thought, yeah, I'm the old guy.
Yeah.
Because I thought this was going to be a lot different than this.
Yeah.
And it was not.
It's official.
And Molitor and I and Steinbach went out and had a steak probably and had some wine and hung out, and those guys played games.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was at a loss.
Just
and
kind
I
of
knew
oblivious. Yeah.
the game was going one way and I was going the other. I knew that. That was,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Coom, thanks for stopping in. We're excited to listen to you all season, drink some Stella Blue with you. And, hopefully we'll catch you at spring training.
I got
and
one more
everything.
quick question. How's Swingtown doing?
we're doing,
I know you're not affiliated.
No,
right?
I'm not. Swingtown has been I sold our baseball school years ago, so it's now a softball academy.
Cool.
It is fine. It's
If you're from the south suburbs, you know Swingtown, USA. If you played baseball anywhere, you know Swingtown, USA. It's like a
we
legend.
were the original, right?
Yeah,
we
you
were
were
the
OG.
original
You
place
were.
that
it was you, Jack Burkani's in the West Burbs.
Yep, that's right.
The one in Lyle.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
What was the one? Grand Slam.
Yeah, Grand Slam.
Grand
Yeah,
Slam.
so
Yeah, it was you guys.
I love doing it. It kind of started because I was given hitting lessons and loved doing it, and then I needed a place to do it, and it was a blast. It was one of those things that probably did me more good as a player than I did for kids. And, but let's face it, where you grow up in the south side of Chicago, there weren't a lot of big league players around. Yeah. Pudge was around and he helped me. But, I got to bring some of that to the kids that were in the southwest suburbs, and that was fun. And now I own a restaurant bar in the southwest suburbs. I just like our area. I like Chicago.
What's your bar? What's your restaurant?
Coombs Corner. We're in Lockport. Me and some buddies, some old teammates bought a place. And
what's the best item on the menu? What do I got to try if I go?
Well, I'm going to have good pizza at my place.
Oh,
I mean, that's just the way it is. But everything's good. I'm not exactly, GQ magazine. We're gonna have good food, bro.
Flyer here.
I mean,
All right,
I'm gonna have good food in my joint. That's the way it is, and we have fun, and that's what it's about.
You got potato skins?
Of course,
All right,
we're a
good.
sports bar. Yeah,
All right.
come Sunday. I'll be there Sunday. Come by Sunday.
We'll be there soon. We'll be there soon.
Yeah,
We'll see you
absolutely.
down there.
It's not as much fun as this. This is my first time in this building. Damn nation.
It's crazy.
Do you pay to work here, or do they pay you? What's going on here?
You would think.
This is
I wonder
incredible,
when I
right?
walk in the morning
Yeah.
if I should
Holy
be. Yeah,
cow.
Crazy.
I was told I'd get a key card to this place. I'm like, be careful what you wish for, bro. I'll just move, the wife's not in town. I'll just be here for a week straight.
get some
Get a
swings
quick-
in.
Sorry,
get a
can't
quick
do the
18
game
in.
tonight.
Yeah, you wanna play Pebble after this?
I'm like,
Yeah.
the golf simulator. I'm like, damn. Horse
Beautiful.
game.
Yeah.
This is awesome. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, all right then, Coom. Thanks for coming in. Once I said anything else you want to get out there before we wrap up?
No, and I'm good. We're going to have a good time at the Cubs convention. It's always great to have all our Cub fans. They come in groves, man. It's the most incredible thing I ever saw the first time I seen it. And it'll be a fun weekend. I'm looking forward to getting the season
And then
started.
Sox convention's coming up right around the corner too, right?
It sure could be.
Don't get them
I'm
going.
I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm
It's-
not sure.
Ron,
Yeah.
it's not because it's not a thing anymore. And this guy's very upset about it.
They're too afraid to face the fans.
They're afraid to talk to
Yeah.
him.
They're not drinking Stella Blue. That's right.
They
That's the
should
problem.
be.
They're not drinking Stella
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah.
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 So, all right.
Thanks for
Coom.
having me, guys.
Appreciate
It's great
it.
to see you. Yep. And always come to Wrigley Field. Come up to the booth and say hi.
Oh,
Always.
appreciate that.
Always.
All right.
All right. Thank you to Ron Coomer. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Nice guy.
I enjoyed having
He's
him.
a throwback.
He is like, I can't remember who said it. I think it was you. Or like, you're just an old dirt dog. Like that's what he is. He's like a different generation of baseball player that we just don't really of athlete. Like I feel like we don't like hockey guys used to run around a little bit more. Like social media kind of killed like the fun story about athletes.
I wasn't allowed to play hockey because it was too expensive of a sport for me. So naturally, baseball was it. And baseballs became hockey. You got to pay thousands and thousands to play on a travel team. It's such a fucking white collar
I
sport.
think
Now
all
the
sports
Ron
are like
Coomers
that.
are fucking dying of the world.
I think that's
Of the
like
world,
all
man.
of like America because soccer is like that too, where
absurd.
it's like the poor person sport around the world. In America, it's like super expensive.
God damn it.
Yeah.
But good guy. It was great to chat with him. Hopefully we're going to spring training this year. We'll see him again. All right, to move into Bears, we also, with the Stock Stadium news, we didn't really touch on Kingsbury, which is a moot point by now because I hired Shane Waldron,
Yep.
as we mentioned before. I don't know how you guys feel. I have no real opinion.
Correct. Same.
I think that's the take. If you're getting overly excited about something, don't understand that. If you're overly negative about something, don't get that hype.
The only negative I have is that if Matt Eberflus likes him, then maybe I shouldn't because
Well,
he hired the last staff.
He
and
was
has to fire
apparently the
everybody.
most sought after
He did it again, by the
OC.
way.
I grabbed my water. OC on.
That's my water.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
I brought one in here too. Maybe that's it.
No, this is mine.
Oh, we're stealing water bottles again?
Yeah.
I've been drinking this whole time.
No, you haven't.
I have.
Pull the footage.
Pull the footage.
You have not. Have we been sharing a water bottle? That's
We might have.
1,000% mine.
Lady and the Tramp over there.
Here, you can have the water.
Smokes
Two
it again.
more.
For people who get upset about their eardrums getting knocked in because it's Dave. He hits
It's-
the mic constantly.
It's a bad setup where it's like sticking
He had the
straight out
same
at me.
setup as all
But
three.
the angles are different for you guys
Because we
of
sit
where we
that
sit.
way intentionally. So I sit this way.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that.
I'll edit out these noises for
No,
everybody.
leave them in.
I'm fascinated by you. It's all right. You're excited.
Yeah.
Things are
The
going well for
computer
you.
thing's off and the mic's off and I gotta move.
Wow, Dave,
I'm
pivot
sticking
it inwards. Hold on.
All right, bear with us. There's a thunderstorm in the audience's ears right now.
What's wrong with that?
I can go through it, but there's still the
I'm going
potential.
through it.
Yeah,
Okay.
same.
Like your left hand is out of it, mine right.
Okay. I won't touch it.
There we go.
All right, we're good.
All right.
Yeah, every time you touch it, Eddie gets to whatchamacallit.
I should get a taser.
Jackie Jr. You. He gets to Jackie Jr. in the back of your head.
All right, Shane Waldron.
Shane Waldron.
I lost my train of thought. So you can.
I read that
You
he was the
said-
most sought after OC that on the market.
obviously an
for whatever
opinion.
that's
obviously an opinion, but
Yeah. You were saying that anybody who's too passionate one way or the other, like, what's your problem? That's what you were saying.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
it
don't-
doesn't make any sense. I do, if you want to talk positives, he did, Smith was out of the league. Geno Smith is like basically out of the league.
Yep.
And he took a guy that was a bust with the Jets, had a few cameos, I think, with the Giants, and was like a nothing guy, and turned him into the comeback player of the year, threw for 4,200 yards. So I would say that that's a positive. If you're looking for like, hey, I'm taking a guy who had potential, never reached it, and I turned him into an effective passer. If you want to apply that to Justin Fields, I think that you could do that. Or if you think that, he's a good guy to work with young quarterbacks, maybe that's it too. Like, I don't know. But other than like his success with Geno Smith, I don't think there's a lot to really be overly excited about.
It also did feel like Seahawks fans, just from what I gather, watching them throughout the years, they weren't happy all the time. Although they did have one of the worst offensive lines in football. But
I mean, you could argue that Geno Smith being good and them winning the division. I think they won eight games this year. They 8-9 missed the playoffs, something like that. They're solid, whatever. Yeah. Like that made that Russell Wilson trade. That's like the most one-sided trade of all time. That trade that they did, because they got 2 first-round picks, right? Multiple.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 20/20 for sure, but
yeah, but definitely. Like I don't think people are necessarily talking that way if they didn't get a tune out of Geno Smith the way they did.
Yeah,
what a disaster Russell Wilson has been.
Can't totally crown the Seahawks either after that Jamal Adams trade too. They also gave up a haul to the Jets.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't really, I just want.
We also just don't know what he's working with. Like that's still the biggest question. Still remains unanswered. That is it going to be Fields or is it going to be Caleb or someone else?
I know he runs a lot of screen passes, but he has them at a higher success than Matt Getsy, so that seems good.
Yep.
Totally different personnel. They were running with Kendall Walker, who's just a power back.
Kenneth, yeah.
Kenneth Walker.
He's like that's like a guy I feel like we bonded about watching him at Michigan State at Declan. So
I watched him run for 75 yards on the first play of the game against Northwestern 2021.
Something like that.
And I was like, that guy's going to be a fucking stud.
Yeah. So
and he was like a Heisman finalist that year.
I think he finished. Yeah,
he's the biggest guy in the field and the fastest guy in the field.
He's a great back. Yeah. And I don't know. It's something where it's like, well, like you had, we'll wait and see. You know? But I don't think it. I saw people being like, oh, like he trains and coaches at the same place that Caleb Williams is coaching, so it's a Caleb pick. And then you got other people being like, oh no, this is more about field. Like people are like, both camps are like, why? Like I feel like taking big jumps on Twitter about what this hire actually means. So we'll see how it plays out. Nothing really matters until they decide what they're doing at quarterback.
Yeah, I mean that's far more the important decision. Yeah. Far more.
You gotta wonder how much input he will have too.
Obviously, just on paper, Greg Roman or Kingsbury might have made more sense.
Why?
Because if you're going to keep Fields, then you go the Roman route. He coached Lamar Jackson for years.
Yeah.
If you go the Kingsbury route, he just coached Caleb. So that kind of seemed like from a cohesion standpoint. So that's not always the best either, though. So maybe him going for hey, no,
fresh eyes.
We need a scheme.
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out our personnel.
I always think it should be the other way around. Like, this is your personnel. Find a scheme to fit the personnel.
And from what I've read too, Shane Waldron has done that.
Yeah.
That he was more kind of double tight situation. They obviously got JSN this year, so they have 3 good wide receivers: JSN, Lockett, and DK Metcalf.
Yep.
So he went more 3 wideouts, 1 tight end. So I guess he is able to pivot, but from what I've seen too, he had the most trouble with their offensive line being 29th out of 32.
Yeah.
So
which anybody would.
Yeah. But so that's obviously there's downsides, and then like you said, he did reshape Geno, and we truly don't know what Geno's limitations were.
Yeah.
I guess at this point we knew when he was younger and came into the league, but as a 33-year-old or whatever he is,
he clearly had. He was lights out at West Virginia, but he had enough limitations to where he slipped to the second round. Yeah. So he was a second round pick, where you would argue that Fields probably has more talent, natural talent. But again, I don't know if this means Fields is in or out. So I do like hearing that he's a 2 tight end guy because I'm starting to every day that goes by I want to get Bowers and just run 2 tight ends.
You could sit there and look at his mock drafts and you could talk yourself into so many different things.
Oh, I got a PFF subscription just so I can do that. It's the best mock draft simulator there is.
It's awesome.
I do it probably every day. And
I don't know. I think obviously there's a way to be a little disappointed at 1 if you're like so totally sold on Caleb, which I'm there. I think we're all there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it's impossible to be unhappy at 9 with all the people I see. It's like, yeah, I would like Bowers. Roma Dunze, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Joe Alt. Could always use a left tackle. There's so many ways where it's
Turner.
Like, everything looks,
end.
yes.
Yeah.
Or where it's like,
yeah, you're going to get a good player at 9.
Yes.
Yeah.
If 3 quarterbacks go in the first 8, and then obviously Marvin Harrison's going in that top 8, and then
probably Neighbors too.
Yeah, probably Neighbors too.
So
Olaf Ashanu.
Yeah,
like there's ways where it's like, all right, there's still enough good guys.
You're gonna get a good player.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna get a really good player,
which is nice.
Yeah, I'd say.
Anything Blackhawks?
Yeah, they're moving and shaking. They in the last week or so, they've had 3 guys that were trade chips that are playing. They're all playing well and have done their job on a bad team. Nick Foligno, Jason Dickinson, and Peter Mrazek. Jason Dickinson he's just a good hockey player. So he was a former 2nd-round pick. It wasn't working in Vancouver, but nothing was working there at that point. They wanted the money off their books. The Hawks said, we'll take a 2nd-round pick and we'll take Jason Dickinson. So they got 2 things just for being like, we have money. And he's been great. So he's a guy that I think if you're a good team, he's on your 3rd or 4th line. He's obviously asked to do more here, but he can skate. He's a pretty good size. He will be physical. He has some offense. Like, he's a nice player. He's a guy that I would like. I think he's 28 or 29 now. I would like it if he was here in 5 years. Beyond this, just too. Like, he's just a good hockey player and seems like a good guy, good leader, all that kind of stuff. The other 2 is just like 2 years is the max you want him for. Foligno, veteran guy that he doesn't have a ton left in the tank, but he's been playing well enough this year that if he's on your 4th line and he can serve that role because the team's not going to be good in the next 2 years anyways. Mrazek's earned that contract. The only thing is, like, yeah, they're technically overpaying all 3 guys because they all got over $4 million, which is too much for them, but that's what the Hawks have to do to get veterans in. And they have so much money. Like, they have so much money that they have to spend to get up to the cap floor.
Yeah.
This just helps them get to that spot. They're still going to have to sign more, and they're still, like, they got a gazillion dollars. But it's like, if you're looking to establish a culture, you got to have some kind of cohesion of a core, even if it's not, like, great, and that's where these guys fit in. The only thing that's bothered me, I've seen a lot of people on the internet being like, they just signed our 3, all 3 guys had trade value. And it's like, they're going to have a run from 2022 until 2025 like a 4 draft period where I think they're going to have 11 first-round picks and 10 or 11 second-round picks. So we're talking 22 guys in the top 2 rounds. If you can't build... And one of them's Bedard and another top 3 pick coming this year. If you can't build a core with 20 high draft picks over a 4-year, then it's like they don't need any more draft picks is my point. They'll get the standard allotment going forward. Like, another 4th round pick for Jason Dickinson is not what's going to make or break this rebuild. Like, they got plenty. So I don't want to hear people complain about that. It's more about kind of establishing a culture. I hope they continue to bring in more talented, legitimate NHL veterans, but I liked all 3 moves, and it makes perfect sense.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Seems like
Bedard watch. How's he doing?
Skating. He's got a bubble
Solid.
on. Skating around the broken
How long's
job.
it been? Like 3 weeks now?
Something like that. I don't know exactly,
A
but
month or so.
he was skating right away. He's not coming back in time for the All-Star game. I know a lot of people were like,
get him in a skills challenge.
I would
at
love
least.
him in that.
At least do
my
something.
my favorite event since I was a little boy was when they shoot the targets with a camera in it and they just snipe it. And like, all the best guys forever have done it. Like, Jeremy Roenick used to kill that. Ray Bork used to kill that. Bedard would be like 4 for 4 in like under
Sick at that.
8 seconds. Yeah, he'd be incredible.
What do you think about Perry? going to Edmonton.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
So because
Then anybody touched him?
that anybody touched him,
Oh,
yeah, because he made it like he didn't really fight. He didn't appeal the contract termination. He had 60 days to do it. I don't believe he did that. So he just kind of took it.
And his statement was like, "I'm getting help," or like,
yeah,
whatever.
or exactly. So
And now he's like not talking on it.
he's like, yeah, no comment.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know. Like something went down.
Funky.
Yeah, it was like a very weird situation, but yeah, I mean, they're desperate. You know, they're playing a little bit better now. He can help them if he's got his head on right. But yeah, the whole that's why it was weird to me, because he's like, I got to get this alcohol thing under control and whatever. He stepped away, but like you don't get that under control in 6 weeks or 2 months or whatever it's been. So very, very odd. But hopefully he's fine and recovered and whatever. But I don't care personally. I'm glad he's off the team.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Besides that, any other announcements? Rough and Rowdy tonight.
Yep.
Go to buyrnr.com. A random Rough and Rowdy on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Love it.
We're on Rumble now. Go watch Rumble. Dave hit the mic again.
Jackie, give him the Jackie Jr. That was a punishment.
Just a soft one.
Yeah.
Just a soft one. Trying to think what else. Little quick things before we wrap up here.
Our medieval times video will be coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good, Danny. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, I think that's. I think that's
news.
dozen news. Yeah, I don't.
Do you want to see the Lions in the Super Bowl? Do you want to see that?
Lions Bills would have been unreal. I saw
I saw
Feidelberg's tweet where it's like, God, like, let us have the keys. It was probably for the best. Like,
Yeah.
I forgot.
Well,
how
that
it
was almost like shaping up how. Remember in 2003, it was like looking like it was going to be Red Sox and Cubs, and that was before either one had broke.
Yeah.
It was like, what the fuck? Like this is going to be Armageddon. You're right. Bills and Lions in the Super Bowl would have been
chaos.
Yeah.
Good luck to
And then
DePaul
this week
basketball. They have fired their coach and they are starting anew again.
That kind of bothers me. Not that they fired him. It bothers me that they're not good. I'd love to be a fair weather fan of one of those teams.
This is
City
the
teams.
first. This current guy that they fired was the first hired by the new athletic director from Kentucky, right?
Sounds right. I'm
Yeah.
not other than Paul beat, so I'm not sure.
I would like it if DePaul guy could. Remember we went to that DePaul bar for the
Yeah,
biggest
it was fun.
tournament?
It was
like a
it
year
was
ago.
fun. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I don't really care, but like Chicago is such like a high school basketball hotbed.
It is.
that like you can't get 2-3 kids a year and be as good as Creighton.
I mean,
Like,
Illinois has a hard time doing that sometimes.
that
so.
too though.
They just had a top 20 recruit.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah, they
that.
do. Listen, I'm not
Yeah, they-
coming at Illinois. They do.
Yeah.
Underwood's been doing a great job, but like historically, they've had trouble with that too.
Right,
So
but,
it's
like,
not a.
Creighton can get enough guys. Marquette can get enough guys. To be
Nova.
honest. Right. But like Creighton's in the middle of fuck nowhere, Nebraska.
Right.
Like you can't get a kid. I'm telling you, 2 good kids a year. That's all it takes. It doesn't have to be 5-star or whatever. Just be
No, it doesn't.
Right.
Northwestern's proven that
exactly.
every night right now.
I saw Danny where you there's been a transition. White Boy Rick's helping you out with the account now. Did you post that about basketball in Chicago?
No, he did. What did you think about that?
First thing I saw that I was like, oh, the Loyola fans are going to be bullshit.
What was the tweet?
Because he was like, can someone fix college basketball in Chicago or something like that?
And Loyola's back now.
Yeah.
They're having a good year.
Yeah, but even
They're okay.
regardless, they
Last
they
year,
had a
right?
they
Yeah,
had a good
no, I
run
know.
there with Porter Moser, where it's like they deserve to be like, hey, fuck you, Chicago basketball, college basketball is like fine.
He posted.
They
it.
are
I'm still
third in
getting
the
hate from
A10
it,
right
though.
now.
You're getting the hate from it.
Yeah,
the
that's
hate
what I mean.
messages.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know they were third in the A10.
Yeah. Because we saw them they didn't look great in the Barstool Invitational.
That's Florida Atlantic they played. That was a good team. They hung with them. It was like a 20-point final score,
Yeah.
but it was like a 5-7 point game until like the last 5 minutes.
And I also think that while having Valentin there is great, whatever, but like when you lose a guy like Porter Moser, you kind of naturally assume that the program success was just tied to him. So now that you have a second coach who's doing it pretty well and in a step up in the conference in the A10, that's a pretty good indication that they're going to be all right.
And then finally, we'll end with this, Dave. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Hall of Fame, Adrian Beltre. Thumbs up.
yeah, thumbs up.
What are you going to say? Because you got 95, and I had a take on this in the rundown. I want your opinion on it.
Yes, Hall of Famer for sure, but I mean, he's a steroid guy, cheating guy, probably.
Is that confirmed?
He was a big time sign stealer. Everybody knows that. It's been going around forever.
Alleged. For the steroids.
But it's one or the other. You got to let all of them in or none of them in.
Okay, Joe Mauer, thumbs up, thumbs down.
First ballot down.
Okay, I hate that, but
I
okay.
hate that. Too.
I mean, man, some.
Do they
The
put
way
it on
it's
your
built-
plaque that it says first ballot?
The way that it's built, you can only get 10 at most in a year.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even really fucking look at the ballot this year. That's how
You didn't do your tweet?
Oh yeah,
I didn't. I still can do it.
No, I don't think you can.
Why can't you?
Maybe it's better you took a year off from it because it will surprise people next year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't have the luster it did last year.
And then finally, Todd Helton.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Go watch Medieval Times video, Barstool Chicago, Rumble.
Andrew Jones, absolutely. It's a
and YouTube.
crime that he is not in the Hall of Fame.
Wagner will get it next year, from what I understand too.
Burley, he went up in votes. He's still on the ballot for next year too. He got to 8.3%. I like that he hangs around.
Yeah, that's nice.
Just
He
hanging
was-
around, that's a testament to your career on the ballot.
That's nice. Actually, along with this, championship Sunday picks. Who we got?
Can I think about it?
Yeah, think about it.
Chief?
Against the spread or no?
No, just straight up. Who's winning these games?
I can't bet against Mahomes.
Okay, so Chiefs.
Yeah.
San Fran Chiefs.
Yeah.
Chiefs Niners. You're not taking the lines?
No, I'm taking the Niners.
Chiefs Niners.
Yeah.
Chiefs Niners. Lance.
Ravens 49ers. It's rigged. It's written in the script.
Okay, Danny.
I'm taking the Lions.
Okay, Lions versus
No,
Niners or Chiefs.
it's gonna be Chiefs. Lions, Chiefs.
That whole thing where Lance just said, where it's like it's rigged, it's written in the script. There's too many people talking about that now, which also makes me think that
It's gonna change.
yeah.
I'm going to Ravens Niners as well. I'm going with Lance. All right. On that note, that's it. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.